Welcome to the Biz Buzz Podcast, where we're talking business. This is a SCORE podcast and go-to resource for entrepreneurs and businesses at every stage, from dreamers and startups to seasoned pros and Fortune 500s. If you're launching, growing, or just thinking about your next big idea, you're in the right place. Each episode, we bring you expert insights, practical tools, and the inspiration you need to take your business to the next level. This is the Biz Buzz, brought to you by the Greater Milwaukee Chamber of Commerce and powered by SCORE Southeast Wisconsin. Now here's your host and SCORE mentor, Jim Rossetti.
Getting to know our SCORE mentors and our SCORE members and the people that make up the real backbone of SCORE, including our clients. I don't want to forget them because that's what we do it for. But you might ask, why would people that I've been interviewing on these podcasts, why would they interview or why would they volunteer their time as experts in something when they could go out and probably get paid for it? But, I'm going to ask that question. And one of the gentlemen today that I've known about, his reputation precedes him. He's got a great reputation for being an expert in a certain area, and that is branding. And I know people that I've mentored think they know what branding is, but this gentleman lives it, eats it, breathes it, and he does webinars for SCORE, and he really shines at it. He's drawing some major people that are joining him on these webinars, and he's really a treasure to the SCORE chapter. I want to introduce Jay Olson. Jay, welcome aboard here on this podcast.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate the warm invitation.
Yeah, and you are, I mean that all sincerely because in this chapter, I don't know if you know it, but a lot of the people, but do you know Jay Olson? He's a tremendous guy to have on the radio. We were doing radio shows, as you know, previously. So tell me, Jay, you've been in SCORE for what, 5-6 years now, you said?
6 years, yes.
About 6 years. And you just wanted to delve in a little bit to your background. I know branding is one of the subjects that you most speak on, and it's something you know a whole lot about. So, but what is your background? Where did you come from? Manufacturing? From what type of industries?
Yeah, Jim, to kind of give you a little bit of an overview before I get into that, though, I guess I should say that I consider myself to be an optimist. I believe in the infinite potential of the human spirit. And I really believe that there isn't anything that we can't do. We set our minds on it, work together to accomplish it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my driving force. And one of my passions really is helping small business founders realize their potential by building, vibrant brands and businesses that are last, a very long time.
Yeah.
And so now that I'm retired, actually,
You are retired. Okay.
I am, and I am a SCORE volunteer. And I started out 6 years ago as a mentor, like so many of our people do.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. But I was finding that my area of expertise in branding, I didn't get a chance to really take that as deep as I wanted to. So I decided to kind of put my mentoring role on hold, and I started conducting workshops for SCORE.
All right. Yeah.
On branding and related fields like pricing strategy, acquiring new customers, etc. But primarily, the core was always branding and brand messaging and personal branding as well.
Right.
But so my role really has kind of evolved to that of education. Now, on occasion, I do co-mentor clients, and those are situations where we have mentors out there that say, hey, I have a need here because I have a client that's interested in branding, and I really want to give them, I want to bring your expertise in to see if you can help with that.
All right.
And So I'm happy to do that when those opportunities arise, but I'm just not available because I don't have the bandwidth to do mentoring any longer.
Right.
But my background actually is quite in depth. I actually I've worked with businesses of all sizes in B2B, B2C, and nonprofit
Hmm.
as a branding consultant and as a marketing strategist and as a marketing executive.
Yeah.
And I worked for a variety of lot of businesses actually out there. I think you're familiar with Northwestern Mutual most recently.
Hmm.
Quad, I worked for them for 17 years
Quad
as
graphics.
a Quad Graphics,
Quad
yeah,
graphics. Sure. Okay.
as a
Quadrucci.
as a
Yeah.
as a brand strategist, and I worked for actually Betty Quadracci, who was one of the founders,
Yeah.
and she was Harry's wife,
Mm.
and I reported to her a lot of my career, some of it at least, and with that in mind, I actually was a resource to Quad Graphics for their various divisions and also for businesses of all sizes, but primarily the smaller to mid-sized businesses that didn't really have a branding department, if you
Hmm.
will.
Right.
So I really learned how to deal with a lot of different situations, and that's where I learned a ton. And prior to that, I worked for Ralston Purina and
Wow.
actually Marcus Corporation for about 5 years,
Okay. Okay.
and and actually got started in the restaurant business. So I had various titles there, um, all over the country actually.
Hmm.
So that kind of gives you an overview, I guess, of my background.
Yeah, it does. It does. You've worked with a lot of the big ones, and
Yes.
but you understand the small ones too. So
And I prefer working with small ones, honestly, because I don't like the corporate politics.
right.
And I love to have the eyeball to eyeball contact with the founder.
Sure. Yeah.
And when that founder is involved, or a startup that wants to be a founder new, in the future,
Yeah.
as long as they have the right mindset,
Hmm.
I'm there and I want to help in any way that I can.
Yeah. Mindset is something new. I'm getting certified in an area called neuro change, and
Oh
it's
boy,
yeah, I'm one of my speaking topics. I'm
fascinating.
so, but the thing is, with branding, you know, some of the clients that I've mentored and people that I've talked to in the small business world are, uh, they think they really can't be a brand because they don't have multi-million-dollar marketing budgets like the big
Exactly.
guys do. And so they think, how would I ever brand myself as a small business? How is that possible? Maybe you can speak to that a little bit, Jay.
Sure, I can. Hey, first of all, there are a lot of misconceptions about branding.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know, my logo is my brand. Well, certainly it's a manifestation of a brand. My website is my brand. No, again, it's a manifestation of your brand, but brands are imbued with meaning,
Mm.
built from the inside out, with purpose and values inculcated
Right.
deeply into the fabric of an organization's culture and the founder's life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that. And when I think about a purpose driven brand, probably the ideal might be Patagonia.
Hmm.
If you think about Patagonia,
Hmm.
now their singular purpose is to save the planet. Literally, everything they do focuses on that.
God needs their help.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And absolutely, Jim, I couldn't agree with you more. But they make products, quality products that last nearly forever.
Mhm.
And if they do become weird, their ideal is to repair those
Sure.
and keep them, out there, in the public without returning them to the dump, if you will, because because everything you do is to protect the environment,
Hmm.
and to and I guess to wildlife, protect wildlife as well,
Hmm.
and human values. It's interesting, though. It's kind of a paradox because with Paradox, this is so I'm sorry, with Patagonia, it's so interesting to me. They started a campaign a few years back called "Buy Only What You Need."
Yeah.
That same year, their sales skyrocketed 33%.
It sounds like
Can you imagine that?
sounds like an insurance company right now that's using buy only what you need in the way of insurance. They're using that as a,
True.
but
This was a different spin on it, of
yeah,
course. And so it's because they know
yeah,
their customers intimately well.
yeah,
They know who they are, and they share similar values.
sure,
And to me, that's kind of an ideal of what a purpose. It doesn't have to be that granular of a purpose. It could
right,
be much simpler than that,
yeah,
but it gives you a good example of what we mean by that. It's money, Jim, is important.
mhm,
Obviously, we need money to build successful businesses,
right,
but money is not the object. If you, I kind of think, and I'm going to paraphrase Simon Sinek a little bit, but he refers to money kind of like petroleum with cars.
mm-hmm,
You know, we need petroleum to drive cars to get from point A to point B, but that's not the purpose of a car, right? The purpose of the car is to get to point B, and you want to do it safely, maybe quickly, depending on what your needs are, um, uneventfully, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but but business is similar. The purpose isn't to make money. Money is an outcome by doing everything very, very well. It's about about delivering an outcome to people that is going to improve their quality of life some way. It's going to be bringing new value to the marketplace that doesn't exist that people need.
yeah,
And to
right,
me, that's what branding is. In fact, I'm often asked this question: how do you build a great brand?
mm,
And my answer to that is usually pretty simple, and but it's packed with a lot of meaning.
yeah,
If you truly love why you do what you do, not what, but why you
oh
do what you
yes,
do, you love who you do it for, and if your idea of value that you bring to the marketplace is so compelling, so powerful that your customers love it, they can't live without it, they can't find it anywhere else.
right, right,
That's the holy grail of branding. With that, you have much more control over building your business and taking it where you need to go because you have a proven success formula,
mm-hmm.
and that's to me that gets to the heart of what branding is about.
And it's got to be integrity too. That if they've one of the questions I when I start mentoring a new client, I send them. I have a get acquainted session, the first one when I meet with them,
Mhm.
and then I send over a one-page business plan, and I say this is
Love
simple.
it.
It's so simple, and there's 8 points on this business plan. Don't worry about writing a War and Peace novel. That's not what's here. Just tell me how you answer these, and by virtue of what you answer those, I'll know how to mentor you going forward. I'll have a better handle on it. But one of the first questions is, what are your values? What are you all about? What really drives you? That's the first question. And you just hit on that with everything you just said, Jay. it's
Yeah.
a it's a result of what your purpose is, what you believe as a entrepreneur, as a business person. I think Steve Jobs proved that. Bill Gates proved it. You know, some of the big name entrepreneurs, Elon Musk is proving it. You can tell what drives a guy like Elon Musk. You know, he's gone. He just lives to do. He doesn't think about sleeping, eating, days off. You know, he's just got his mind.
He's
Yeah.
one driven son of a gun.
Yeah. And if I can get him on one of these podcasts, I'm going to try to do that. May sound crazy, but I think he'll do it.
Mhm.
But you just hit upon that in what you said. So you brought a whole different light to the idea of branding that I think will be so helpful to people because they think they know what they think it's just a big name. You know,
Yep.
Kleenex had such a brand that it became the name of the product. The product got lost somewhere. It's a tissue, right?
Right.
But we think of it as give me a Kleenex. I got to blow my nose, right? That's a brand that was so well branded, it just drove it into people's minds, I think.
Right.
And again, I look when I go to the grocery store, I see a brand name product. And maybe the same company that manufactured that brand name product manufactured a store brand next to it that the store
Mhm.
uses a brand. It's a little bit
Sure.
cheaper than the brand name. So sometimes we buy it thinking, but am I going to get the same quality as I would out of that brand product? You agree with that?
I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I think if branding is about anything, it's about
Right.
trust.
Trust. Yeah. You hit it. Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah.
And often when I'm working with clients,
Mhm.
we don't start with the back end. We
Right.
start with the front end, and that front end is the founder. You know, you as the client,
Mhm.
meaning that what is your personal brand and what does it stand for?
Sure. Sure.
And um,
Um,
and to me, that's an important place to start. And because you don't people don't do business with inanimate objects,
mhm.
with companies or products.
Right.
They do business with people that they trust
Right.
or the products that they create that they know, that they can trust
Yeah.
as well. But where I'm going with that is I think a lot of times people say, hey, my personal brand is important. It's extremely important.
Right.
If you want to start a new business, get used to the idea that you have to be the face of your brand. You have to be the leader. You have to be that front person, whether you like it or not, because it is about you. It is your people have, think about it. When they learn about a new product or service, what do? They probably go online to learn about the reviews about the product or service. Maybe they'll go check and see, well, do these people actually know what they're doing? So they might go to the about section or to find out who's behind the scenes that's creating this product or service. But I kind of think, when I think about Richard Branson, for example,
Yeah.
he's got to be the face of personal branding persona, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. That's the man, right?
Right.
I think he has something like over 10 million followers on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
but it's been estimated that the value of his personal brand is 100 times more valuable than the companies that he founded.
Sure. Yeah.
Meaning that if you take him out of the equation, those companies are going to be in serious jeopardy, right?
Yeah, that's
Because the trust, unless he lays the foundation, with those people and they continue to build on his legacy. And that's really what he has to do. And that's what he strives to do as well. But, and here's the thing, Richard Branson's personal brand wasn't always that
mhm.
valuable. He had to start
Yeah.
someplace. And we can do the same. And if you're starting a new business, you need to do that. And by the way, you do have a personal brand, whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
And the question you need to ask yourself, though, is what does it stand for?
Mhm.
If you don't know the answer to that, you need to do some digging to find out.
Mhm.
And you need to be able to easily articulate that to people because it's your passion, it's your purpose, it's your passion
Mhm.
that's going to drive this business forward.
Boy, that is so valuable. And I hope as people watch this podcast, they're going to get it as much as I do what you've just said because it really really made sense. I remember I've been a radio talk show host in my past for years. I did that. I was down in Florida for several years. I started a radio show called Biz Talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to get big names on the show to give me a little PR. I was looking to establish a brand for the radio talk show. And I thought getting bigger names would do it. I chased a guy by the name of Ross Perot. I don't know if you remember Ross
I
Perot.
do remember him. You got him, huh?
I finally got him after chasing him for about a year. I got to know his secretary. She was, or his administrative assistant, I guess you would call her. And she liked me. So I think that's why I finally got him. She kind of kept me abreast of, well, he's going to be here, he's going to be there. And so anyway, after about a year of chasing him, but his story was so unique. And that's why I wanted to get him on the air, because he came out of the service and he went to work for IBM. And the very first year that he was working for IBM, selling those big mainframe computers back in the day when there were probably $500,000 to buy one, small businesses couldn't afford them, and big businesses got them and didn't utilize all of the capacity of them. So anyway, he sold his first year's quota in 1 month.
Wow.
So IBM said, well, take the rest of the year off. We'll pay your salary. And he was not about to do that. But one thing that came in his mind is that with these large companies that he was selling these computers, Fortune 500 companies that could afford to buy them, is they weren't using all of the capacity. So he said, well, there's little guys out there that can't afford these mainframes that really need the technology. How about if I bring the downtime on these big mainframes to these little guys and we make that a business and sell that downtime for a price they could afford and then bring the technology to the small. I thought that was a phenomenal idea.
Oh, I do too.
But he was so driven. If you remember, he made that he became a billionaire. Actually, his wife gave him $1,000 out of she handled all the personal money finances in the household. So she said, if you can start a business on this $1,000, then you definitely deserve it. And so he did that. He actually built that, and he believed in it so. He sold the company to General Motors, of all things, after it had grown to a phenomenal size. And he got on the board of advisors for GM with the sale of the company. He didn't like the way they were running it, and he didn't think they were true to his purpose in the beginning. He said, "You've strayed. I want to buy my company back." He said, "I will pay you $1 million profit, and I'll pay you back what you paid me to own." And that was the story. And I thought that story was so unique that I wanted to interview Ross Perot. Unfortunately, he wanted to talk more politics than he did about business. But
he was running for president back then, I think. I don't know exactly when, but
yeah, he did. And he actually almost upset the election, or probably cost George Bush Sr. the second term by being in the election. If you remember, Bill Clinton became president, and lot of it, yeah. But so everything you've just talked about, I think is so true. And I'm a musician, Jay. I play music. I use PA systems, and I bought the brand Bose. Mm-hmm. And I bought Bose only because I believed in them so strongly. And the quality of the Bose was so superior. They were really head and shoulders above all competition at the time, and everybody else was copying Bose. But when I bought Bose, I really believed in them so much. Now, one of my Bose speakers went out on me on a gig. No, worst time.
And it can happen, even with the best quality products.
So I called Bose and I said, look, I got a problem. And so they said, well, here's what we'll do. They charged me, it was a nominal amount to fix it. And they said, send it to us. We'll take care of it. They not only fixed it, they sent it back to me in a brand new box. It was just beautiful the way this happened. Took them about a week or so to turn it around. And they didn't even charge me for it. They didn't say they weren't going to charge me. I gave them a credit card. They never, actually executed the transaction. So, but that's how much, and I've been using their equipment ever since. And every time I show up at a gig and people see I'm setting up Bose equipment, they go, "Oh, you got Bose. You're going to have good quality sound."
Mm-hmm.
That's how brands are driven into people's minds.
I agree, Jim. And I'm going to add to that. It's a little bit of a different take on it, but it's a belief that I have, and that is, and I think one of the problems today is we're so focused on following the money,
right,
that we forget why we're in business, who we're doing it for, and why we're doing it.
right.
And and so a lot of businesses go astray. Big companies, small businesses,
Sure.
a lot of them,
Yeah.
because they don't get the formula right. To me, the formula is put your employees first. Your employees first, because they're the front line to your customers.
Yeah.
Then your customers, then your shareholders, in that order. And when you screw that up and you start going for the money, and you forget those first two areas of parts of the equation, you're going to run into a lot of difficulty.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening. A lot of large companies have lost the trust of America today. Most big corporations have, and it's because of their fixation on the money part, and they forget about the people part and why they're doing this in the first place. Yeah. And it brings me back to what I just said earlier. If you're not bringing true value to people's lives, you need to question why you're even doing it.
Right. Oh, that is so true. And if you notice that a lot of employees that work for companies, and when they discover that the company, maybe has a tagline that they use all the time, and when they see the management of the company and the people running the company do not follow the path that they're...
Don't get me started. Oh my gosh, that is so frustrating. Yeah. And I've seen it time and time again, where I'll work with a corporation, and we're really making good inroads in trying to build their brand from the inside out,
Sure.
right? But you have the executive staff still eating in the executive dining room, and the employees in their own little. But it's just the doors are closed, and I'm going, oh, come on, this is not going to go very well, because you don't really get it. Yeah. That's not leadership.
That's is that a truism? Thank you so much for that. And the executives always have the premier parking spots.
Absolutely. It's not. You forget, hey, first of all, that frontline employee has eye-to-eyeball contact with your customer who is making your salary for you. And you have to understand who's paying for your salary for you, right? You actually, they should be first and foremost. We should be inverting that typical organization structure, in my opinion, because I think that we just do not put enough
some companies
on the people that do it for us.
They give lip service to it.
Yes.
But they don't, the integrity is not there, and the employees definitely see that. They say, we're working for a deceptive company, because they're saying one thing and doing another. So that loses, and that's where companies fall apart, for sure.
And culture follows leadership. If the leadership is falling apart, your culture is going to fall apart. Right. Because the trust isn't there.
Yeah. Some companies,
they don't trust the leaders to do what they say they're, to do what they say we should be doing.
That is so right. Now, I've seen that in so many instances.
Me too.
Companies I've worked for and you don't want to give your best. You don't want to give 100% for them, because you don't believe they're worthy of it. But
exactly.
Yeah.
And Jim, that brings me back to one of my loves
Yeah.
for working with small businesses, because it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
If we think about it differently, this can be a major
Yeah.
a point of difference. If we're authentic and we're
Right.
transparent in our values, and we try to just do the right thing.
Sure. But that is something that I've learned over and over and over again, seen over and over again. And the companies that really succeed, I've interviewed a lot of CEOs of companies and bigger ones sometimes when I could get them as a guest on my Biz Talk show.
Mhm.
One of the repetitive things they always said is our employees are our family. They become our family. We think of them as family, and they have a place at our table. Our door is always open to them. They can come in and talk to the CEO anytime they feel they really need to do that. It's open. The door's open. They don't have to make an appointment. They don't have to call ahead. They can show
Mhm.
up, and I'll kind of stop what I'm doing, and I'll listen to them. That's a
That's
yeah.
that's really important.
Uh,
A lot of companies don't do that though, or they say
oh,
they do, but
Oh
they
no, no.
don't
The,
follow
the, the CEO is on that ivory cloud up there, and
Yes.
hierarchy, and we don't fraternize with our low level employee. The janitor is important in these companies that succeed. The janitor is important. The people that are at the very bottom of the totem pole are important. Oh, there's
Yes.
and the higher up and the different layers of management see that, and that gives
Yes.
them the desire to give their best as an employee for a company.
It
Yeah,
it's really so important that we have to stay true to our purpose and values.
yeah,
And I mean, that means being transparent again. It's being
yeah,
in you have to be authentic. You have to
yeah,
be who you are when you're at your natural best.
yeah.
You're going to make mistakes.
Hmm.
That's understandable. Admit it when you do it. Be transparent about it, and then strive to do it better the next time and communicate.
Yeah,
Let people know what you're doing, because it's part of life.
yeah,
When I think about, success, something that comes to mind, to me at least, it's not a linear path from point A to point B, that's going up. It's very much a rocky road. It's ups and downs, peaks and valleys, and it's the valleys that are most defining.
hmm,
But the problem is we can't allow those. That's part of life.
hmm.
When we're in a trough, we need to learn a skill set that you don't learn in reading a textbook.
Sure.
You only learn by doing, by being in business. It's something called mental toughness, because you have to be able to, and this is going to happen to every person that's starting a new business, you have to be mentally tough,
Hmm.
because people are going to put you down. People are going to tell you that you can't do what you think,
Yeah,
that what you believe you can do. Um, but you have to have excellent coping skills. And there are ways that you develop them, I think, that are just not taught in
mm,
textbooks, for example.
yeah,
Or maybe they're touched upon, but I really, I'm going to just touch on a few things here, because I think this is important, and this goes beyond branding. But to me, one of the things is the spirit of Kaizen. You have to be continually looking for something every day to improve on in your daily life, in your business.
yeah,
Just find one thing every day, and maybe at the beginning every day, and focus on that.
yeah.
Here's another factor too, I think that's important. You have to learn how to fail before you can succeed.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is
It's
so true,
um,
because you are going to fail.
mhm.
How you fail, though, and how you cope with that, and how you learn from that, you have to look at that. It's not a setback,
Yeah,
it's a learning experience that you have to bring to the forefront,
that's right.
and improve the next time that you're doing, that the opportunity, when that happens again, I should say.
Sure.
And another area too that I think it's important, if you're starting a new business, or trying to grow a good high growth business. Gratefulness. We forget about the
Yeah.
power of gratefulness. Once we reach a certain level of success, we sort of feel entitled. Well, we've done it this and we deserve this.
Mhm.
No, you don't deserve anything. You have to work hard for everything that you get. And you want to every morning wake up and be grateful. Think about the things that you are grateful
Mhm.
for before you even start your day, because gratefulness begets success. If you're focusing on the things that that you're grateful for, it means a lot. Another thing that I think is important, and it's just me, but it's along these lines. It's unexpected gestures of appreciation.
Yeah.
We forget. We tell them that we think that we're thankful for what they do,
Mhm.
but we don't really mean it.
I,
We don't really mean it. We don't say it in a heartfelt way. Um, Something that happened, and I'm going to
artificial.
share.
Yeah. Artificial. I know. I see it.
Artificial.
Yeah.
One of the things that happened in my family situation was that we had a. Um, are you familiar? I'm sorry. We had a. I'm trying to remember situation. We had a. Oh, I'm going blank on the brand. I'm so sorry, but
No,
anyway,
that's all
we had a
right. Yeah.
situation where we had a complaint with one of the companies that we working with, and my wife was on the line with the people, and with the customer service group and the crew, and the person that she was talking to really listened with intent and understood what the problem
Yeah.
was able to quickly solve it for us,
Uh-huh.
and but that wasn't it, because they got into a conversation about my daughter and her starting a new business and other things. But what happened is 2 days later, she got um, a handwritten note from the customer service rep
Uh-huh.
thanking her for taking the time to call and making her aware of the situation and letting her know that it was how he was able to correct it, and how much he really enjoyed talking with her and learning about my daughter's
Right.
business venture. It was short and sweet, but that was on on point with what a branding message should be, and how you want your employees to do. I mean, it comes down to not only appreciation, but it comes down to having that empathy with people, that you care enough about them to reach out them and let them know that somehow you struck an accord with them. We forget that.
Oh, Jay.
Maybe just
Yeah.
sitting down and and not just sending a thank you email, but maybe writing out a
Right.
little card,
Yeah.
a personalized branding card of some sort
Right.
with that could be really powerful, because, and especially in this day and age with everything being so electronic, if you will.
Well, Jay, I'll tell you, a company can make mistakes and fall down
We
on
all
somebody.
do.
Now, here's the thing that you hit on something so true that that customer service rep did so much to save face without actually having to, just by listening and straightening out the situation. That's what branding to me is if something goes wrong, like the Bose speaker I mentioned, the company took care of that with no questions asked. In fact, they were glad to do it. And that customer service rep was 110% working for the company they did that for, because that will last longer in the mind of the customer than anything else they manufacture or do in their business.
It wasn't
Yeah.
robotic, it was
Yeah.
authentic.
Yeah.
And it was, they were delivering their brand promise
Right.
better than any CEO could ever do.
Oh, I've worked for companies where I hear complaints. Why are these customers pressing so hard? Why are they giving us a hard time on this? We gave them this, that, and the other. they absolutely take an attitude that is on the pathway to failure, and it
Yes.
definitely is gonna lead them there. Anybody climbing the ladder discovers that on their way up. If they forget where they came from, those humble beginnings, they're gonna. It may not happen on the first rung or the 10th rung, but it's gonna happen. When I get up in the morning, and it took me a long time to do this, but I learned the first one I thank in the morning is God for giving me
Oh,
another day of
yes.
life. And then I go out and walk my dog. We live on a big country, lot out here with several acres, and it's a quiet time to walk the dog and talk to God and say, thank you for the car I'm driving. Thank you for the way yesterday went. Thank you because you answered prayer way before it was delivered. I just
Yes.
thank you, and gratefulness, gratitude, and thanking the people that got you there and never forgetting them. And
That is so
yeah,
powerful, Jim. I totally agree with you.
yeah.
And it's interesting you say that. As a matter of fact, I walked my two dogs this morning before we did this podcast. So I totally with you there. Hey, Jim, I wanted to share one thought just so I don't forget. And it's something that I can't take
Mhm.
credit for. A gentleman by the name of Gio Valianti,
Yes, yes.
um, who
Sounds
is
like a good Italian boy.
yeah, he's a sports psychologist
Mhm,
who specializes in working with golf professionals.
mhm.
But at any rate, I was listening to one of his podcasts this morning as I was walking my dogs, and he made this point. He's and it's in it. I think it's powerful. This is a coach. This is a quote from Vince Lombardi. We
Ah,
all know it well,
oh yes,
right?
yeah.
You know, winning isn't the only thing. Winning isn't
Winning
everything.
isn't
Winning is the
everything. It's
only
the
thing.
only thing. Yeah, I got his book sitting right over here
Yep.
on my definitely.
But
Yeah.
what Gio said was that's not actually what he
Yeah.
said.
Hmm.
What Coach Lombardi actually said was winning isn't everything. It's the only thing worth striving
Right. They
for.
took that out of context, that
They
quote.
took it out of
Yeah.
context. A and B, along those lines, the point he was really making.
Hmm.
Whatever you do in life, strive to be the best in the world at
Right.
it.
Right. Right.
And you might never get there.
Hmm.
Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. But strive to to be the very best that you can possibly be.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're not going to win every game, but you're going to win a fair amount of them, and you're going to continue to improve and get better and try to achieve that goal
Yeah.
always.
Jay, I one of the people I interviewed on the Biz was a later on. I did the Biz Connection show for Score and a syndicated talk
I,
show.
I, I remember that, yes.
I interviewed a guy by the name of Willie Davis. He was a Packer of the '60s. He was a
I
defensive
remember
back.
him,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Willie went out to California to Los Angeles, Watts area. If you probably know about Watts.
Oh, yes, I do.
He took over a defunct Schlitz beer distributorship that had literally crashed and burned, and so many people in Watts were depending on that company for their jobs and for their livelihoods. And Willie said, if it weren't for the principles of leadership that he got from the Lombardi, being coached by Vince Lombardi, and that's who he gave credit to all the way through for being successful. He later went on to not only bring that distributorship back from the worst to the best, as the distributorships went nation worldwide, actually. Um, but he went on to own about 1,200 radio stations and just multiple business acquisitions. But he said, I knew, in fact, that's on my website. I got that interview on one of the, when I hear, and he was in his last legs when he did the interview, he was straining to talk on the mic, but he still gave time to do that interview with me and talk, and he spoke so highly about what he learned from Lombardi. He said, I knew nothing about business, but I just took the principles of leadership that he showed us on that football field into my business. And he said, I don't think I could have survived anywhere in business without what he instilled in me. And so, yeah, and that becomes... so everything you're saying, and plus you had mentioned, giving up, perseverance is one of the qualities that I look for in the people that I mentor with SCORE. Do they have the perseverance to go the distance? And they start sharing with me on some of our sessions that they're really they're hitting brick walls here and they're hitting brick walls there, or they've been denied or declined financing at a bank or whatever. And I said, well, tell me how many banks have declined you? He said, well, what do you mean how many banks? He said, one, the one I bank with personally declined me. He said, why wouldn't they take I said, hold on, hold the phone. You know how many banks turned me down for loans when I was starting my early business? I said, if you haven't been to 10 banks, I said, but you know what I learned about going to a bank is before I knock on their door to make a loan to me, I find out who the loan officer I'm going to be talking to is. And I find out what kind of loans does your bank do? Do you do restaurants? Do you do manufacturing? Do you do car dealerships? Do you do janitorial businesses? What businesses are the strong suit with your bank? I interview the bank well before I ever go in the door. Sit down. Okay.
Smart.
And when I walk in, I know the loan officer. I know his name. I might even, from other things that I know about him or her. And I said, before you give up with one decline, you're not ready to be in business if that's going to chase you out the door. The first, I said,
very true.
One of my idols in radio was a guy named Rush Limbaugh. He's passed on since. I think you might have heard of Rush. He had a phenomenal radio show. But Rush talks about he was fired 7 times in the radio industry before he ever got anywhere in radio. He was actually, and he introduced the whole subject matter that he did on radio, and he became one of the biggest shows to ever, he had like 600 affiliates in syndication that were carrying his show worldwide. But anybody that I've ever admired or in business anywhere, and that's why I wanted to get people like a Ross Perot on the air and people like that had failed first and failed several times before they ever succeeded.
If you talk, I'm pretty sure pretty much anybody that is successful has failed.
Walt Disney filed bankruptcy 3 times.
Yes. You have to accept failure. It's got to be, it's part of the success, path that you have to take in life.
Jay, you've hit upon so many things today in this podcast, talking to you, that it's been so inspiring to have you on today. I'm really excited about this and people hearing it.
Thanks, Jim. It was a pleasure. You've inspired me too.
But it shows the quality of people that we have. Just as a last thing I wanted to throw out there to you, what do you think about SCORE's brand and SCORE's identity with clients as we go forward? It's been around since 1964, the SCORE chapter. So it's got to be doing something right.
Absolutely. Jim, I'm glad you asked, actually, and let me kind of respond. Let me give this some thought. I guess what I'm really thinking here is we're kind of at a tipping point with our brand today.
Yeah. I think so.
Funding for SCORE right now is in jeopardy.
Mhm.
And the reason I say that is Congress has failed so far to prove the $17 million that we've asked for our budget for the new year.
And that's for 400 chapters nationwide, right?
Yeah, that's for 10,000 mentors nationwide.
Yeah.
And I forget 60,000 businesses that we mentor
Right.
for free, which is pretty short-sighted of Congress. I'm sorry to say, but I don't want to get into a political discussion about that.
Yeah.
The point is, though, that we're kind of at a point where we're probably going to have to reinvent ourselves a little bit. I think it depends. What I'm going to tell you is that I absolutely believe in the purpose, the mission, and that is to build thriving small business communities across the country.
Right.
And I think we've done that admirably well through mentoring and through education. And I think those are the two, points that we have really focused on and built our brand around.
Right.
All of this said, we don't have a whole lot of awareness out there even today. When I meet people, maybe for the first time, question I'm always asked is, who is SCORE? What do they do?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to explain it to them real quickly, what they're about and so forth. But we have not done a great job of building our brand and building brand awareness for our business. Now we're at a turning point where we really are going to have to reinvent ourselves a little. I don't know what that's going to look like in the future, Jim, if we don't get the funding. I do believe we're still going to be offering services. I do think we're going to be offering free services.
Sure.
But I think at some point we're going to have to also look at us charging for some of the things that we do. For example, one of the things that I know that we're looking at doing for our chapter, and maybe for the central region totally, is that we're going to introduce a new workshop series on business transformation. And so that'll include a combination of free and paid workshops. So, for example, you might take a free workshop to get an overview of a particular topic or subject.
Yeah.
And then if you want to take a deeper dive, you will have the option to pay probably a nominal fee, but you have to pay something to take that deeper dive, in which there will be more hand-holding, more of a workshop situation where you are actually doing more in the workshop than just listening.
Sure.
You're actually a big participant in it, and you're working on your own business some way, doing something that ties back to what you're learning in class. And so we've identified five tracks that we're working on, and they're all important to small business success. One of them is financial management, cash flow, for example.
Yes.
Another one is business planning. Another one is digital marketing, and all of its varieties and shapes and forms.
Yeah.
Branding is certainly one of them.
Sure.
And the fifth one, I'm trying to remember what that one is. Anyway, it escapes me. But there are 4 or 5 of them anyway that of different tracks that we are planning to introduce this next year. But the model will change, where we offer a combination of free stuff and paid for. And I think we have to, because we're not going to have the funding that we had before, at least from the government, it would appear, unless there's a miracle of some sort.
Well, and what they pay to go to the workshops, they can look as a donation more than actually a fee for the workshop,
Yes.
Because it's helping to keep SCORE in existence. But you mentioned that is, I've been a SCORE mentor now for about 20 years. I was a chapter chair for a couple of years when I first came into SCORE. But prior to coming to SCORE, I was down in Florida for a long time, in South Florida. And I got involved. I got on the staff of a small business development center at Florida Atlantic University. I spent, I think 3 or 4 years working there and putting on programs for them and doing some. And that's where I launched my first radio show, the Biz Talk. And one of the things that was always going on while I was working there is and it was even published in a Wall Street Journal that the SBDCs were under siege. They're going to disappear. Funding will be pulled because they served about 3 different masters. 1, the dean of the college. 2, the SCORE, in their community, and then the SCORE hierarchy in D.C., the SCORE National. So they served 3 masters, and they are still here today, even though it was probably over 25 years ago. It looked like they were going down. I don't think SCORE is going to go down. I think
it's definitely not.
I think we may be worried about it. It's being talked about, and it looks like. But I think this DOGE has really dug into all agencies of the government, and SBA is one of them. And they're looking to clean house with a lot of fraud and things that are going on. And I think they're doing a pretty good job of that. So, but at the end of the day, I think this is one of the services provided free to people that has made a real impact to keep businesses. I've seen success over the years. The 20 years I've been with SCORE, I've seen so many businesses really go on to greater heights. Not all of them.
Me as well.
And I the thing is, they always look back, and I became good friends with the people that were running. We had developed friendships. I have one now that he's in Uganda, Africa. He's from Uganda. He had 16 things under patent pending when I first got him as a client. And I said, well, let's do one at a time. But he was...
Bobola, by any chance?
Pardon me?
Bobola? Is that his name?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Bobola? Oh, it reminds me of a client that I.
No. This client actually, he was. I was able to introduce him. Milwaukee has quite a reputation as a water council there. For water technology. Okay. He was a water technology scientist, graduate of University of Arizona, and he was one. Remember the BP, the British Petroleum water cap, or the caps came off oil wells in the Gulf. Back about some of you. He was one of them that was called in to help cap those wells. He was tremendous reputation. This guy, his name is Dr. Mo Mukibi, and if he hears this podcast, he'll be glad I'm talking about him because I admire him greatly. The man was such a genius. Now he's back in Uganda, even though he went with Stonehouse Water Technologies, is his company here in Wisconsin. They've developed a patent on a water pod. I won't tell you all about it, but I'll give you his website. You'll be able to look it up, and you'll see and his bio is out there. But I seen people like him with great ideas that SCORE has helped tremendously, and people like you, Jay, that have had the patience and the willingness to take on these mentoring projects with these people and stay with them and not give up and show them perseverance. And, I can't thank you enough for what you do, really. And
thanks, Jim.
I think you hit upon so many things here in what you said about SCORE, and I think you're absolutely right. We've hit a tipping point. But honestly, I think it'll survive.
There's no doubt in my mind we will survive. And there's no doubt about that. But we will have to have an open mind, and we're going to have to kind of rethink what we're doing a little bit. But I do believe we've had tremendous success working with clients, right. And that's my passion, of course, and I don't do it because I'm expecting the accolades from that. Mm-hmm. I will say this: working with my clients, I always tell them, nothing in life is for free. Right. Now, there might be monetary value and maybe you're not paying for it. Mm-hmm. We have expectations here. Right. Those expectations are that You're responsible for your own learning. I am not going to be your teacher.
Sure.
I'm going to guide you. I'm going to give you ideas and suggestions to help you, but I'm not going to do it for you.
Yeah.
You are you're your own master, and you're going to learn by doing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to help you do that. But you have to take that accountability.
Right.
It's not me.
Jay, that is so spot on and so well said. Those are nuggets of gold that you've delivered today to us on this podcast. And man, I tell you, you've been so generous with your time today, and I appreciate your coming on. One of the reasons I'm doing these podcasts is to be able to showcase some of the talent that I'm seeing in this SCORE organization. There are so many greatly talented people that are willing to give back, not looking to be remunerated in any way, just willing and love the fact that they're having a hand in the success of somebody's business. It excites me, and I didn't want these podcasts to be a part of the SCORE National, and they're not. We're doing it as the we've got a chapter chair now that's really entrepreneurial in his thinking. He thinks outside the box, and I love the guy. I'm talking about Cola.
Cola, sure, you bet.
He's a dynamic fella, and so we're calling these the Greater Milwaukee Chapter presents the Biz Buzz, powered by SCORE Southeast Wisconsin. So any kind of sponsorship we get is going to be a contribution to SCORE.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Good.
Jay, thank you so much for your time today, and you've really come on board. We're hitting, we're knocking them out of the park with every one of these podcasts. Every mentor I've been talking to, every SCORE member I've been talking to, since is bringing so much to the table with these. So, and you haven't disappointed me in any way. It's been tremendous. So thank you, Jay.
Glad to help. Glad to help, Jim.
Okay.
Thank you for, it's a privilege. So thank you.
God bless you, and go have a great day. And sorry for your mother's loss and some of the things you've experienced lately, but you're still a fighter that's out there doing it, and God bless you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Biz Buzz, powered by SCORE Southeast Wisconsin and brought to you by the Greater Milwaukee Chamber of Commerce. If you found today's episode helpful, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend, fellow entrepreneur, or business leader. Want more resources or mentorship support? Visit us at score.org to connect with a local mentor and keep your business moving forward. Until next time, keep hustling, keep dreaming, and keep building your business with SCORE.